Hi guys, nimerudi tena leo. Kev, habari yako? Imekuwa siku mingi kabla tujaongea. So today we are going to do a data visual. Last time we did a bar graph. Today we are going to do pie chart. So we're using After Effects. You just double click on the icon and then it opens. So here it is. So we are going to look for Notepad. So in Notepad, we are going to just pick maybe at least 3 or 4 values that we want to use. These are just random numbers. If you are assigned to do something like this, you'll always be given a list of data to generate in After Effects. We're going to use, let's say, maybe food stuff. So you can say header, most consumed food. So foodstuff number 1, let's say bread at 65%. Those are percentages. So 65%, and then corn 38%, and then we go to beans 57%. So beans, bread at 65, corn at 38, beans at 57, and then we go to rice, 25. So this is what we are going to have as our header, most consumed food. And then we have bread, corn, beans, rice. Then we come back to After Effects, and then now we never show this again. So now we create a new comp by just clicking there, or if you don't see this, you can just come to comp, new, still gives you the same. Then you go to create a new comp and then give it a name. You can give it this name here, most consumed. So I would prefer you give it this name, copy, and then you paste it there. So this, I think, should remain like that. I'm gonna use HDTV 1080 by 1080. But because it's some data I want to be able to use on maybe on a social media platform, you can go with 1920 by 1920. I'm 1080 by 1080. Mostly go with 1920 by 1920 for the width, and then 1080, and then maybe any like if you're using it for IG or for TikTok, you do the reverse where the height is longer than the width. So time, I think this would only go for like 20 seconds. And then you say okay. And then you can change this background color to come to comp settings, and just change it here. So for this one, I want it to be white, which doesn't affect whatever you put, it's still transparent. So I have my comp set up. A bar graph. We want to visualize this data here to make it more interesting. If I post this on Instagram, fine, it communicates, but then not in an interesting way. So I think we'll start with the title. Copy. So I went online and downloaded an image, and then now I'm bringing it here. So double click, go to where my files are, and then this. So this is the one I downloaded. So I want to use this as the background. So just scale it to fit. So I have that as a background. But then you need a background. Right click here, and then new, solid, and then make this solid. This color is not working for this. So we just go to change this to not you can have a black one though. You can just have it as black, and then you change this color to white. So you have that popping out nice and easy. So the next step is we have the background going, we have the main title, and now we go to the rectangular tool. If you right click or you press Q, you move through each and every one of them. So we need this because we want to do a pie chart visuals. Make sure nothing is selected on your layer panel. I'm going to just zoom in to start drawing from the center, holding shift and control. Just like a small one, because we don't need the fill, so you just have a small one, and then V on your keyboard, and then just scale this up. V on the keyboard, let's move it close, and then holding shift, scale it out. So the first thing first, we are going to disable the fill and then enable stroke. If your stroke is not enabled, if your stroke is like this, you just click on that and then it brings you this and you pick a color. So this stroke, we want it to be white for now. Yes, so it's white. And if you open the content, this content browser, you'll have this stroke. So this, you can rename this. No, you should rename this to background. Like select it and then click enter. You will have the possibilities for renaming it. So I want to name this as BG for background. So this is BG for background. I think I should make it a little bit smaller. So we have BG for background, and you can also duplicate. Control D, I'm gonna come to edit and then say duplicate. So you have two. So this is BG. So for this first one, you can call it red. So you can just duplicate several of them. 2, 3, 4, or 5. So just have, should have 5. So duplicating is just Control D, you just select whatever you want to duplicate, come here and then say duplicate. And make sure you've activated the layers inside the shape, because if you select the shape and then you go to edit, duplicate, it duplicates the shape. So you should take that note. So the reason why I don't want to go to shapes and duplicating, having 5 shapes, doing driving data for each food stuff here, is because I want to be able to, if there's a change on one, I want to be able to only do that with only 2 keyframes. So I want to use 2 keyframes on my timeline to animate all these under one layer, not having 5 of them and doing different keyframes, like 5 keyframes here. If something changes, you have to go to each and every one of them and adjusting that. So that's why I'm doing this. So I'll call this, I'll right click and say rename and call it main layer. So now this, I'll call this one maze. So the other way to rename is just highlight it and press enter and then call it maze. And then the next is corn, beans and rice. So this is corn, beans and rice. So the next step is we are going to select all and then reduce the size. So the stroke, you can see it because the color is also white and the background also has a white color. So just going into that and then changing that color to something else, you would see the difference. So for now I need to, for maize I'll go with the green. So I go to maize and then give it a green color. And then I go to corn, I give it a yellow color. Then I go to beans, I give it a reddish, almost maroon color. Somewhere here. And then I go to rice, I can leave it as white, but then because the background is also white, I'll give it brown, like a brown rice, a darker brown rice. So I have all my colors set. So for maize, I'll select maize and then go to add, and then I add trim path. This trim path, when you select maize, it will add that trim path inside the maize part. So drop down the open the content of the maize, and then you go to start. So here you are told the value is 65, so you say 65%, but this is not 65. That means you should do the reverse, where the end part should be 65, not the start. So that's 65. Now that is 65. Then you do the same to corn. You can duplicate the one in there and then drop it here, but then selecting and then trim path, and then you go to the end, you give it was 38. So 38, 57, 25. So this is 38. And then you go to beans, the same. Beans, the same. You beans, and then you give it a trim path. Go to trim path. So the reason why I was telling you that these values should actually be 100%, it's because if you check the trim path values, they only go up to 100%. So if you do more than 100%, the total should be 100%. So the end one is so all this should give you 100%. So I think we are going to adjust this to be 100%. So let's say there are 4 of them. We can have them equal, or vary the values and make sure they are adding up to 100%. So 65 plus 35, that is 103. So these two already, they've taken a lot. So let's say this is 30 and this is 60. Maybe this is 40. So this will give you 70, and then you say this is 12, and then this is 15 plus 3, that gives you 18. So 70, 30, that is 100. Yeah. So I think that's what we're going to use. So 40, 30, 12, 18, then gives you 100. So we go to beans. Beans, here we have 12 on the end. And then we go to rice. We also have rice. We have 18. So rice, add the trim path and give it. So we also give the end value of rice 18. So I think we'll go back to 40, 30, 12. So we go to maize and then change that value to 40. And then we go to corn and then change that value to 40, 30. So those other ones is 12 and 17. So this is 12 and then this is 17. So now you have everything set up. So the only thing you do next is offset. So offset, you just you want this one to be here, negative 144. So you have that. So you close that and then go to corn, do the same. Go to, now because corn is already in its place, you go to beans, do the same. I'll just scale it in so that you can see. So holding control, you just slide it a little bit there. Then you go to rice, do the same. You just offset there. Just zoom it in. This is a brown rice. So now you have everything set up, and then the reason why I also put all these things in a main layer is because of this. See, now I can just move everything, and then nothing is going out of place. Yeah, just like that. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted it to be like that. So, and then you can also scale it down. See, scale it down without interfering with their sizes. So I have that. So selecting the main layer and then coming to, don't select any layer here, just select main layer and then come to add, then trim path. So this trim path is what is going to now control everything. You can call it trim path control. You can call it main main. Yes, you can call it main. Just call it main trim path. Yes. So you can actually do a slider where you don't have to go inside this main layer. If you had like so many layers here, you don't have to go inside this main layer and look for the control. You just select it and then you find different settings for each and every trim path that is on here. That one I'll show you another day. So the only thing we're going to do here is this. So you see what that does. But then because it's simultaneous, you can change that to individual so that they start. So the background comes in, and then, so for now we're going to just leave it that and then animate the end. So we'll have, so if you animate the end, now the background comes last. See, so rice should always be there. So rice to be there, and then this one shouldn't even move up, so this one should remain here. So I think we just do the animation with this. So start, you just you can actually put a slider on that. Let me just show you how to do that, and then the process is the same for all of them. So come here and then go to slider control, and then apply it on this layer, and then start. So alt click and then parent to the slider. So now the slider is connected to that, so you just need to select main layer, and then this is what you use. So another thing, I'm seeing beans coming before rice, so you just swap them, and then you'll have just like that. So put this to 0. So go where you want, 1 second, set a key, come back, and then go to 100, and say enter. Then now you have that. So I'll go to keyframe assistant, the one that says F9. Do that, and then just adjust this so that it animates in smooth like that. Then you can also go to the speed graph. If you don't see this speed graph, just right click and then click on speed graph. So you on speed graph, you want it to ease slowly outwards. So I'm sorry I can't use any sort of shortcuts because Camtasia is using them. So you'll have the background coming in, and then you can even reduce the opacity of the background individually. That's why I was saying when you do this, you'll have control over most of the things on an individual basis. So you go to fill, not fill, you go to stroke, and then you change this. And then save it. See? So you'll have that. So you can also provide a key. For the key, you just need to copy this. And another thing again, which I think I'll teach maybe later, but there's a way you can link this value to a text. Let me just do one. So you do this, and then you go to, you don't type anything, you just go to text, source here where it says source. So if you alt click it and then you parent it to this, it should give you that value there. For sure it should give you that value there, yes, just like that. So you have that value for the 40, which you can also animate, which you can also link to what? Let me see. I think you can link it to this. Let me see. So link that. See what that does. Oh, that will take it to. No, you don't need to do that. Okay, so yeah. So if there were bar graphs and then you link each and every one of them to this. So that was maize, and then linked to that, and then you go again and link. If you go to corn, and then trim path, and then just put a text in there, and then go to text source, and then this one here, and then you just alt click, parent it to this, just like that, and now you have 30. So the good thing with that is, no matter, every time you change this value, it changes the value of this. So you don't need to go again and retype 30 or retype whatever value you put. So to demonstrate that, just if I increase the value of this, see what happens. So I've gone up to 100. If I reduce it, see what happens. Yeah. So that's the beauty of that. So let me just take it back to 30. So the beauty of linking that text to your source is that if you are given those values, and then whoever gave you the values decided to say, can you put maize 40? So if you type anything there, nothing will show. But then if you go to your maize, the end, this one, and then you type there 90 or maybe 95, it changes that value. See? So that's the beauty of having everything organized and linked to each and every one of them. So I think that's it for now, and thank you for watching, and